Incy Wincy Spider and his pals Achy Bakey Roach and Wookie E. Worm were sitting at Old Mother Hubbard's shoe and brownie shop.
I can't believe Frenny Fly is not returning my calls. I always said she was not a good girl for you, Incy. I don't believe it. She said she would love me for all my life.
But a fly only lives for 28 days.
That's 27 days too many. I thought you were my friends.
Achy is just kidding. He didn't mean it. Suddenly, Brawn Beetle came running in.
Listen here! I just got news! Freddy Fly's been kidnapped by Hokey Pokey Pig!
What?
Incy Wincy Spider, Achy Bakey Roach, and Wookie E. Worm stood outside Hokey Pokey Pig's mansion, wondering how to rescue Frenny Fly.
Listen, pals, I thought you were rotten guys, but you turned out to be not so rotten after all. A bug in need is a bug indeed.
You wait here. I'm going to crawl all the way up the wall and find out where Hokey Pokey Pig is keeping Frenny. Wookie E. Worm started to crawl up the wall. Suddenly, there was a buzzing noise, and Wookie bounced off the wall. He fell upside down on the ground.
Wookie! Wookie! Wake up! What happened to you?
That bleeping Hokey Pokey Pig. He's got the walls all electrified.
I'll fly up and look through the windows.
Achy Bakey Roach flew up, but barely a second had passed and he was knocked out of the air by a laser beam.
No luck. Motion detector cameras equipped with lasers. There's only one way to do it. I've got to go up the water spout.
Achy Bakey Roach and Wookie E. Worm looked at him horrified. They knew Incy Wincy Spider and his history with water spouts. But whenever you climb a water spout, you are knocked down by the water flowing down it. You had vowed never to climb another spout in your life.
You can't risk your life, Incy.
I've got to do it. If I do not do something like this for my love, then it is not true love.
And so, Incy Wincy Spider forgot his fears and started climbing up the water spout.
The Incy Wincy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the Incy Wincy Spider went up the spout again. The Incy Wincy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the Incy Wincy Spider went up the spout again. The Incy Wincy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the Incy Wincy Spider went up the spout again.
Incy Wincy Spider finally made it to the top. On the roof, he found Frenny Fly tied up to a chair.
Incy Wincy Spider untied Frenny Fly, and they hugged each other.
Yay! You did it, Incy!
Incy, you came for me!
Yes! Now let's get away before Hokey Pokey Pig finds out. We will take care of him another day.
Incy Wincy Spider grabbed onto Frenny Fly, who flew them both away to their home, and they lived happily ever after, or at least for 28 days, because as Wookie E. Worm rightfully said, a fly only lives 28 days. Once upon a time, there lived a very successful businessman named Mr. Bill King. He had a team of very intelligent horses and very crafty men that worked under him. Day in and day out, Mr. King's horses and Mr. King's men worked, building new inventions every day and making tons of money for Mr. King. One day, Mr. King made an announcement to the world. I have created a button that can undo anything. It's called the undo button. With this, just by pressing Ctrl and Z, I shall be able to undo anything, take back kingdoms, and even turn back time. The world was horrified. Mr. King had the power to undo everything and bring the world back to the Dark Ages.
Call Mr. Egbert Dumpty immediately. Yes, Mr. President. Mr. King has invented something terrible. We must think of a way to stop him.
Mr. Egbert thought for a while, and then he snapped his fingers.
Aha! I've got it! Mr. President, arrange for a public meeting between Mr. King and my son as soon as possible. But your son? Are you sure? Trust me, Mr. President.
Mr. Egbert and Mr. King met at the City Hall at noon the next day. Mr. Egbert's son, Humpty, stood with him, looking quite nervous. There were reporters and news channels and live bloggers noting every move that happened to move. Humpty was afraid to even pick his nose, even though he felt such a terrible itch inside. The whole city had gathered to watch, and everyone wanted a selfie with Mr. King and Mr. Egbert. The president sat at a distance, watching the proceedings quietly.
Mr. King, you claim to have invented a button that can undo everything.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Egbert.
If you fail to undo something I ask you to, will you give up the button?
Mr. King thought for a bit, because he never did anything without thinking.
Yes, indeed. But what if I do manage to undo what you ask me to? You shall become the new president!
Everyone gasped in horror and turned to look at the president. The president looked shocked only for a moment and then nodded, because he trusted Mr. Egbert.
That's settled then. Son, would you sit on that wall, please?
Everyone gasped once again. Eggs and walls do not get along well. But Humpty obediently walked to the wall and climbed up and sat on it, because he too trusted his father, Mr. Egbert. Humpty sat uncomfortably for a while, and then wobbled and wobbled some more, and finally lost control and fell down to the ground. He smashed into 100,000 pieces. Everyone gasped yet again. There seemed to be an astonishingly large number of gaspings going on that day.
Mr. King, I would like to see you undo this. Undo this!
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great ball. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great ball. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great ball. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
This is impossible! I give up! I shall stop the use of the undo button immediately! Everyone cheered this time, marking an end to all the gaspings that day. But what of Humpty? Humpty, son, put yourself back together again! Humpty moved his arms and, picking up the pieces, put himself back together again in no time. Everyone gathered there, clapped and cheered in delight once again. You see, nothing is impossible, but you have got to do it yourself.
This is unacceptable. How are we supposed to catch the bank burglar if we don't even know how he committed the burglary?
Inspector L. Elephant, the burglaries occurred in dark vaults, where it would be impossible for anyone to see anything. In fact, the areas were so dark that even the CCTV cameras don't show anything.
Just what Captain Boffo Bison says. It was so dark in there that even my flashlight was blanked by the darkness.
And that's not the end of it, Inspector L. There is no window or door through which the burglar could have entered, except for the main vault doors, which would need an explosive to open. But the CCTV cameras do not show any explosions or light of any kind.
Just what Captain Boffo Bison says. It's almost as if the burglar was a ghost.
Sergeant Conelips Crocodile, we can't have this kind of talk in here. It is enough that the media is spooking out the general public without us policemen adding to the nonsense.
But what do we do, Inspector L?
Go to Alice, the farmer's wife. She's the only person who can solve the case.
Inspector L, you know the police department does not approve of her methods.
Captain Boffo, we have no choice. I will take the case on one condition.
What's that, Alice?
I will treat the burglar a lesson as I please.
As you please?
Yes. Does the police department agree?
Inspector L said we have no choice. Go ahead, Alice. Solve the case.
Aha! They are blind mice. That's how they see their way in the dark. And they are tiny, so they do not need to enter through the door or window. They simply crawl through the drain pipes. Stop!
Who's there?
It's Alice, the farmer's wife. We're caught.
Help! Oh, look at those 3 mice. Look how they run.
3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. See how they run, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did ever you see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice? 3 blind mice. Three blind mice. See how they run. See how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did ever you see such a thing in your life as three blind mice? Three blind mice.
Look at those mice run!
Three blind mice. Three blind mice. See how they run. See how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did ever you see such a thing in your life as three blind mice? Three blind mice.